this is a beautiful part of your life because you have this for a reason so that you can bring life, you can have babies and have that just amazing experience. Honestly, like when I was in high school, I had terrible cramps, but
Mm.
we had off campus lunch, right? So I got to go eat lunch wherever I wanted. Now that I look back, I'm like, well, no wonder my cramps were so bad because I wasn't nourishing myself with real whole foods.
Welcome in. How are you feeling today, Phil?
Feeling great, feeling great. Today I learned all about the follicular, luteal, menstrual, and ovulatory phases.
Okay.
I mean, obviously this is a big part of nutrition for women, right? So in today's episode, definitely learned a lot and things that I'm going to take as I talk to women about their nutrition as well. You know, at OTG, we talk to our clients on a surface level about nutrition. But then when we talk to someone like Kelley, then
Getting
we
a little deeper.
Yeah, we get these details that are so important to help women, move in the right direction that they want to go. So was there anything specific that stood out to you today?
I think the knowledge I gained was just the 4 cycles. I was very unaware, very uneducated on the fact.
Mhm.
And so I thought it was just kind of one thing you deal with like for a week or so. And then
Mhm.
you just kind of, you have kind of a rough week and then you just go on with your day. I didn't know that there was so many different cycles, so many different ways to attack the cycles and make the whole process just very beautiful and also very manageable. So I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I really like how she also brought in a little bit about the exercise piece,
Yes.
right? So we not only talked about nutrition throughout the phases, but also fitness, exercise, lifestyle adjustments that can be made. So super good stuff. Kelley with KS Wellness and Nutrition. And yeah, listen closely, take notes, and implement some of these things. And I think can make a really big difference in someone's life.
Kelley, a little tradition that I've been liking to do to start every episode is I ask everyone what they had for breakfast this morning. So what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Yogurt
Yogurt?
with
Okay.
honey and granola.
Ooh,
Oh, nice.
okay. What kind of yogurt? Greek?
Yes.
Okay.
Gotta get that protein,
Perfect.
Sean.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. That was the trick question. I was trying to I was like, man, she says yo play, she's out.
No, Costco.
Okay.
Greek,
Oh.
organic Greek yogurt.
Yeah, very nice.
Perfect. What about you, Phil? What did you have this morning?
I had steak and an English muffin,
Okay. How do you like your steak?
medium.
Medium?
Mm-hmm.
Good man. If you said well done, I would be like, out.
Dang, he's got strict today. That's kicking us out. So Kelley, before we get into all of this, like specifically women's nutrition and everything, maybe share just a little bit about why you're so passionate. I met you a few weeks ago at a local event. I kind of had a tent set out and you were talking to people about diet nutrition. So I'm going to assume that your passion for nutrition is very high.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, my dad was a coach all growing up. And so we were always active, always playing sports. So I always just kind of had that like mindset of always being active kind of thing. And then as I got older, I just kind of got interested in like, what was I eating? And especially as then I became a mom, then I get even more into that, like what's good for us, what's eating, all of the things that happened like with COVID. Like I was really just wanting to learn a lot of things and like do a lot of research for myself. But then like as I got to really working with people, the people who want the most help are women.
You know what I've learned? I don't want to interrupt, but like women are more open-minded to getting help.
Yeah.
And that is so key. You have to accept that you need/want the help.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that statement.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a few male clients that are like in their 30s. But I was surprised that they even came in. But they do have, a wife or girlfriend or mom that's, helping them in the journey. But yeah, it's definitely women. And it's mostly women from like 25 to 45 probably. It's like mid 30s is the biggest area, which that is me. And
That's
sorry
okay.
about that.
That's okay.
So Yeah, that's just where like I just started learning things myself and just wanting to help myself and my friends and my family. And yeah, I was a kinesiology major. Like I've always just been health oriented. It's just grown as I've gotten older. It's just grown.
Okay. So what did you
So
do before you were specifically working on nutrition?
I was a PE teacher.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. How
Yeah.
long did you do that?
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it tough to leave that, or how'd that go?
No, actually, I was ready to leave.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was having my second son, and he was
Mhm.
born in August. And so I was like, well, this is a perfect time to not go back to work because he was born. I was going to miss the first 3 months of school.
Mhm.
And so I talked to my husband, and he was like, okay, let's do it.
Did you, at that point,
So
did you have a plan to do this, or how did that
no,
kind of
not
wrap
at
in?
that point. That was in what, 2017. No, I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom at that point.
Oh,
Like I
wow.
hated leaving my first son and going back to work. I hated it. And then I was just like, with my second son, now what am I going to do? I really, I just really wanted to be there with them. So I have gotten to do that since the second one was born. So it's
Okay.
been great. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And so you've been in this space now seeing clients for how long?
Actually started seeing clients in, gosh, maybe just at the end of last year.
Oh,
And
dang.
then, yeah,
Okay.
and then created my own KS Wellness and Nutrition,
Mhm.
and then started working in a clinic once a week, also in Houston,
Mhm.
And then doing on my own with people from wherever. It can be online, or I do online or here locally. So
Okay, so a
yeah,
combination of online and in person.
yeah.
And there, what does an appointment with you look like?
Well, I like to spend a lot of time. It's not like, a regular doctor where you're like, you got 5 minutes to talk and I'm out of here,
Mhm.
So,
Sure.
usually the first appointment, I mean, we spend at least an hour talking just about their entire lifestyle background. What does their routine look like? What do they do for work? What is their home like? Because we even get into like the mold aspects and things like that.
Wow.
So yeah, very functional medicine, holistic, like everything about your life affects you. And
Hmm.
so what can we change from there? So yeah, spend a whole hour just learning about the person and every aspect of their life.
And then you start to put together a detailed plan
Yeah,
based
we go
upon
from
that
there. So we
information.
can talk about like different lab testing, blood work, or different like functional medicine type labs where you use urine or saliva or hair, tissue mineral analysis tests. And there's a lot of things.
Wow, getting real nerdy. I like
Yeah, I
it.
know.
I love it.
That
I
go
love
there.
it.
But yeah, then we just kind of start in a protocol, and there's a roadmap to it all, and it's kind of a slow process, but it didn't, the things that happened to you didn't happen overnight.
Sure.
If you're 35, it's all the 35 years affected to where you are now. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a slow process. But
Sure. Yeah. And it's the same thing with fitness, right? When I'm
oh
talking
yeah,
to someone about, changing their lifestyle, probably similar to yourself, but we're talking more specifically exercise, or you're talking more specifically food.
yeah,
They need to understand that, because if you
Mhm.
don't tell them, you're kind of lying to them. Right. So
Yeah,
if you're just like, oh yeah, we're going to do this thing real quick, you're going to get great results and your life's going to be totally different in 6 weeks.
yeah,
Like that's not doing them a favor.
right.
And it's unfortunate there's so much of that information out there. So I think that it does
Yeah,
take people like
quick fix.
yourselves and like us to be honest about the process. I
Yeah.
think that's so great. What usually gets someone motivated to come see you in the first place? Is it a weight loss situation? Are they actually sick with something? What's going on?
It's not really, I mean, it can be related to weight loss, but really not either one of those. It's kind of like they've had these issues for a while, and maybe they're on medication for it and nothing's changed. Or maybe they've tried these things themselves, but nothing's really working and they just can't figure it out. Maybe they've been told all of their labs are just fine, but are they really fine?
Are they just
So
acceptable,
yeah,
but not
for
optimal?
sure. Yeah.
You said issues. Like what kind of issues are you talking about?
Well, it could be like hormonal issues, for sure. And then also what I see a lot is just gut health related issues. Like
So they just don't feel good. Like
they
they
don't
know
feel
so-
good, like
yeah.
they're bloating after eating all of the time. They're not using the restroom as many times as they should, having constipation. Or it could be the other way around, like constantly having very loose stools and they don't know what's going on. So there's also a big relation to the gut and the brain.
Mhm.
So if you're having brain fog a lot, or you're not sleeping well, that shows something is going on with that relationship there. It could be even, I do a lot with your detox organs. So your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys, like your bowel movements, like how are you getting the toxins out? How is your body working in that? And so, I mean, everything's related. So they may come in for one issue and then we're like, oh, well, no wonder this is connected to this and this is connected to this. And it's,
And you kind of put the piece of the puzzle together.
yeah.
Yeah. And then start to fix them one
Yeah.
piece at a time. And something that, it sounds like to me that the type of person is, and I went through this myself not too long ago because I've had a lot of like digestive issues on and off throughout my life since I was like a late teenager, maybe like around like 17, 18 years old. I don't feel as good as I did X time ago or whatever. I can't seem to think as clearly as XYZ. And, some age-related things come in, but it's probably with something in your lifestyle, something food-related. What you put in your body is what you get out of it.
Yeah,
Something
for sure.
I say a lot. So
yes, I talk about like food sensitivities and try to figure out like what foods are really bothering you because those can cause the same issues like the gut issues or the brain fog, the headaches. I mean, it's
a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into why an approach specifically for women is different, why it's different, how it's different, things like that. Like why should women take a different approach to nutrition?
Yeah. Well, I mean, men basically only have testosterone. I mean, they do have estrogen, but
Sure.
it's like testosterone and it kind of goes up and it kind of goes down. And that's basically it.
Yeah.
Like you have no cycle. With women, it's constantly different. We have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. We have all these different things that are going up and down all throughout the month. And so your body reacts differently in each of those different phases of the month. And so there are things that we do we may not even realize we're doing, but it's affecting how our hormones work. And there's few like simple things you can do and change in your life to actually help your hormones work the way they're supposed to. And then as a woman, most of us are moms, that also gives a whole nother part to the story because you have your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system, right? And you should be able to go from one to the other very easily. But what happens is we end up getting stuck in the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, right? So we're up in the morning, we're like rushing to get ourselves ready and get the kids ready and get everybody where they're supposed to be on time. Most of the time, that's the mom's responsibility. With my friends, that's just kind of what I see and what I hear from people. And so you're stuck in this kind of stress response, right? And so we have to do certain things to get us out of that response. And for a woman and a mom, that's hard to do.
And you're saying that so people rely on food to get out of that sometimes? Is that what you're saying right
just
now? Or?
Different. I mean, it can be food, but also exercise and just being mindful of a lot of different things too. That we help ourselves to get out of that stress response by relaxing and giving ourselves time to relax, especially in certain phases of the month. But doing different things to help us, like just taking deep breaths, like being mindful, like relaxing your shoulders and taking a deep breath and giving yourself some quiet time where there's no noise. And it doesn't even have to be like a big deal, it just giving yourself those little moments, and then also realizing, yes, what are you putting into your body? Because if you're up in the morning, you're not eating breakfast, you're getting the kids ready for school, then what do? Add coffee on top of that, caffeine. So your cortisol is already rising. Then let's add caffeine. Now it's rising some more. When are you eating? You have nothing in your stomach. There's no nourishment. That cortisol is just going to keep rising and keep rising. You've got to have the food. So for women, I always say, are you eating breakfast?
So you think women, it is a good idea to eat breakfast, even though the fasting culture is kind of like popular. Oh,
Okay.
So you're
We
saying,
struck a
saying
nerve.
no girl dinners is what I'm hearing. No girl breakfast where you just have like iced coffee and you just hit the door. No,
that's nonsense.
Okay, tell nonsense. Tell us the problem, and I have lots of follow-ups here, but tell us the problem with not eating breakfast. Like, what's going on? What are the consequences?
Yeah, if you are a woman who's still menstruating, that's where it comes into play. Because if you're postmenopause, it's kind of a different story.
Okay.
If you want to intermittent fast postmenopause, that's a good idea. It's a better idea than when you are still in your cycling years. Because like I said, you're getting up and you've got all the stress of your young kids and you're not eating and you're adding the caffeine. There's no nourishment, right? So your body is it's going to start fighting for nourishment. So it's taking the glucose from here and taking that and using it how it's not supposed to be used. Like your body's fighting for something. Give me food, give me nourishment. So yes, breakfast is a big deal. You can still have coffee. I'm not saying you can't have coffee.
Okay.
But I want you to have food in your stomach before so that it doesn't affect you as bad.
Do you have a recommended time frame from the time you wake up to like when you should have it? Like, do you have within 2 hours, within 3 hours? Like, what are your
say
thoughts?
like within the first hour.
Oh,
or
within
even
an hour.
45 minutes. I mean, because you're just like, you're getting up and you're going, So,
do you get fight back for this a lot?
not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, I tend to have like pretty good rapport with people. So I guess the way that I present it, I don't know. They're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I can try that and see,
Well, it's also what we talked about earlier, someone that's accepting of advice and knows that they want/need help. And do you have, let's go, give me two really good, for the person that says, man, it's going to be tough for me to do that. Do you have a couple of recommendations or any general rules for that breakfast meal?
So I usually will recommend, because I don't want to go buy something that's frozen in a box processed, right? But you can do things at home that's easy. You can make yourself egg muffins in a pan and then put them in a bag and freeze them. Then in the morning, all you have to do is grab a couple and warm them up, take them with you if you need to. Like, there are easy ways to get your breakfast in, which I always recommend lots of protein.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I like where we're going. I like where we're going.
Women need protein. We don't eat enough protein. So every meal you need to have at least 30 grams of protein, and breakfast is, important.
Wow. Okay. I didn't see this tangent and sidetrack coming, but let's talk about some protein tips.
Yeah.
For
Well, I
women
liked your breakfast. If you're having steak for breakfast, go for it. I mean, I'll even eat leftovers. Like, we'll make, hamburger meat and rice or something. We eat a lot of red meat and chicken. I'm not big on fish, which I hate it.
I love that you're big on red meat, though.
Yeah.
So rare
huge
for women.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, so I'll eat hamburger meat for breakfast.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're speaking the same language now. We're speaking the same language. And do you, and not to play devil's advocate, but an issue that I see, and we speak with clients about nutrition probably on a much more surface level than yourself. But that seems to be a tough one. What are your tips and recommendations for getting women to come around to eating more meat and more protein in general?
Well, I mean, those that I've worked with recently have actually seemed to be pretty open to it. It is, and I just tell them, like, this is a mind shift change, which we're doing on a lot of things, and this is one of the things. But if we always start with nutrition first before, like getting into supplementation and all of the extras. It's always food first. But if I can, like I said, provide some easy things to have on hand, and I always just say like beef sticks. it doesn't have to be hard, but like getting your protein in. Honestly, really, I haven't had that much like, oh no, I can't do that or I can't eat that. Usually the women I talk to they're open to making the change. And I've always said, who made up this you've got to eat pastries and pancakes and cereal for breakfast? Like, who created this? It's terrible creation. Let's flip-flop it. Like, who told you to eat that for breakfast? And then most people are like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I'm like, why aren't we eating meat for breakfast? Why not? And they're like, oh, yeah,
that kind of
good
goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Just, you mentioned the biological differences, the lifestyle differences, and then now there's these societal factors as well that kind of play in. And when we were talking about that the other day, I was thinking more of like a lot of women feel pressure from society to look a certain way, get themselves ready in the morning. So it takes like extra time. Maybe that was interfering, but this is one as well. Yeah. Just like, you have to eat, like when you think breakfast, cereal, pastries, donuts.
Yeah. Donuts.
Yeah. Why? And then, why does it come that way though?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
But getting that mind shift to like, no, let's think more of eggs and steak or hamburger meat or whatever meat you had from dinner the night before. That's okay to eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
You can eat whatever you want for breakfast. So.
And you mentioned 30 grams of protein per meal. Where is that number coming from?
Well, it's just a good number, easy number to remember, but usually you go by like 0.8% of your body weight or like per pound, per meal. So that usually comes around close.
Plus or minus a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice round number to shoot for.
Yeah.
A lot of times what I like the same metric. It's a really good metric.
Yeah.
And then I'll figure out how many meals per day someone can eat. Like total protein.
Yeah.
Like say that your total protein goal is 120.
Yeah.
And all right, well, I'm going to eat 4 times a day. I need 30 grams of protein at each one to get to 120, you know? So yeah, I like 30 as well. I was just curious if you had any like rhyme or reason, behind that number.
Yeah. I mean,
it just works.
It's an easy number to remember, I feel like. And basically like if you go with like the composition of a lot of women that I are clients of mine, that number tends to work pretty easily.
Right. It's not too much.
Yeah.
But it's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, health considerations? Are there any specific health issues that a lack of nutrition for women can lead to that's a little different than men?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to your hormones and the way that they fluctuate and the way that they work, that kind of like intermittent fasting idea just really doesn't work because we need the nourishment. We need to eat. And so many people are afraid to eat because of that. Well, I don't want to gain weight. I feel like I'm eating too much. But really, I mean, I always say you eat till you're satisfied. Like, don't fill your plate up too much. Be in a relaxed state while you're eating. And then be mindful of how you feel when you're eating. Eat till you're satisfied and stop. You shouldn't feel like, oh man, I ate so much after that, unless it's Thanksgiving.
Then you have to.
You have to.
Yeah, then you have to. Like, come on.
You get a pass on that.
Our birthdays exceptions, birthday dinners.
Yeah.
So twice a year.
There we go.
Not other people's birthday. Only your own
right.
or anyone's birthday.
Or maybe your
I could
wife.
find someone's
Maybe
birthday.
there you go.
I could find someone's birthday every day, and then I could just overeat every day.
Yeah, let's not go too far.
Okay. So I'm trying to play the system. I'm trying to play the system too hard. Okay.
But yeah, definitely hormones for sure. And then like make it easy. Like you want to eat whole foods, cooked, warm, nourishing whole foods. It's really not that hard to do.
Yeah. Simple.
Yeah.
Right. Should
make
should
it
be
simple.
the
It doesn't have
approach.
to be hard. Like find your favorite things and like, stick with that.
Yeah, one time, one of my really good friends, his name is Mike. Shout out to Mike. He does DEXA scans and RMR tests, VO2 maxes, stuff like that. And, we talk about nutrition a lot because he has a couple of nutritionists that he has on staff also. So when they get the scan, then, kind of get some nutrition advice from the numbers, right? So it's really cool. But anyways, he told me one time that no matter how much people kind of complain, maybe complain is not the right word, but they don't necessarily say they say they don't want to eat the same things all the time.
Okay.
The reality is that most people come down to about 20 to 25 different foods that they eat their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about that. He told me that like 2 years ago. And I was like, you know what? You're so right. And so now I have this little, something that I say like kind of jokingly is that just because you eat Jack in the Box today and Wendy's tomorrow, there's no difference there. It's still a burger and fries.
Yeah.
They're just seasoned differently and cooked in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you find the things that you like
Yeah.
and then you just stick with them.
Yeah.
Do you have a personal go-to like high protein dinner or lunch?
I mean, gosh, we tend to eat a lot of the same meals around our house, especially because it's something the kids are gonna like.
Sure,
then
yeah.
you got to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we eat a lot of, I call it dirty rice. It's basically
Dirty rice is
hamburger
so
meat
good.
and jasmine rice. And then I'll like roast some vegetables with it in the oven. And then my husband and I usually just like mix it all together. But I love having that for leftovers. I also do a lot of like roasts because it's easy, crock pot, and really good meat. But then we also just cook steaks a lot too.
I love steak.
Yeah. And then brisket. So we had leftover brisket from last weekend, my son's birthday. And my husband cooked a big one. And brisket and eggs. Like,
Oh, it's so
That
good.
sounds so good.
It is
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just like, find whatever meat I have and make something out of it. But it's usually, I mean, we do eat a lot of chicken too. But I mean, like you said, you just kind of stick to the same things that you like.
Mm-hmm.
And we always try to make enough to where we have that left over for lunch. So
Sure.
you're not going out and grabbing something crummy
Mm-hmm.
or or just not eating because you're like, oh, there's nothing in the fridge. You know, you don't want to skip it. So yeah, always make extras to have leftovers. We always have eggs. So
Yes.
like if anything, I'll eat eggs for lunch.
Your household
You know?
sounds so much like mine.
And avocados. And,
Yes,
yeah.
sounds so similar to
Yeah.
honestly. Like I love eggs for dinner
Oh yeah.
personally.
We have breakfast for dinner a lot.
Yeah, same.
And we'll make a hash.
Okay.
Like we eat bacon.
What?
and
Bacon?
Uh-huh.
Are you sure you're a nutritionist?
I love bacon. Oh my God. Bacon's so good.
Yeah.
Get
Potatoes,
that turkey
bacon,
stuff
Yeah.
away from me.
eggs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a great combination for
Yeah.
sure. Well, you mentioned earlier, the cycles, right? That's obviously a biological factor,
Yeah.
right? That women are going through that men do not. Do you think that nutrition needs to change from one stage of the cycle to another? Feel free to talk about the different cycles if you want to go as deep or surface level as you want with that. But
Yeah.
my main question is, should a woman change their approach to, and if you have input on exercise as well, I'd love that.
Yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so let's talk about that, like kind of what the phases are, how they work, what's going on, and
Yeah.
what things should change as you go throughout the month.
Okay, so so the first phase, like day one, is your menstrual phase, and so this has been, our whole life it's like demonized, like, oh, this is the worst. You're gonna have headaches, you're gonna have cramps. Like that may seem normal, but it's really not the way it should be. You shouldn't have all of those side effects of that part. And so, honestly, treating your body right during that week is going to help with all of those, the headaches and the cramps and the pain and the heavy bleeding and things like that. So a couple of things that you really want to make sure you're staying away from during that phase is, which it's basically all the time,
But just maybe
more
extra.
importantly, yes, is seed oils and processed foods. You want to be really nourishing your body with whole foods, warm cooked foods, like I mentioned before. But in the first week and the second week, which is the follicular phase, if you're going to do any kind of like intermittent fasting, those are the only 2 weeks that I would say that
Really?
would be okay. You don't need as many calories during those first 2 weeks. But I still hate to even say it because I just don't want people to take it too far or then continue to do it like month after month after month, all month long, you know? So, but in that first phase, like if you ask any woman how they feel during that week, they don't really want to do much of anything.
Right.
So that is the week that you want to really be resting, really taking care of yourself. You actually have, your mind is actually working really well. So you can like really connect things more factually and emotionally during that time. So like really relaxing and doing just like introspective work and taking it easy, like just going on walks and maybe doing some yoga and good stretching, very light exercise. This is your rest week.
Okay.
Yeah. So nourish yourself and rest.
And when it comes to the nutrition piece of that, you mentioned like staying away from the processed foods and the seed oils and stuff. Are there particular ingredients or items or things going on when you eat those that you're trying to stay away from?
Inflammation.
Or is it more of I'm missing out on real nutrition, or is it both?
I mean, it can be both, but mostly what those items are doing is they cause a lot of inflammation. They give you the wrong types of omegas, like omega-6s. You want a balance of those omegas. That all has to do with inflammation. But like the seed oils are getting you the wrong direction and causing more inflammation. With the processed foods has the same, you know, seed oils and all of the things that they just extra stuff that you don't need. But that's really what it is. It's like causing more inflammation.
So we're trying to keep inflammation down during that week.
Yeah.
Is extra
resting,
key.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about, it's okay, we're through that week, and then what's happening?
Yeah. So then the follicular phase, you're getting more energy. Your levels are starting to rise. This is the week you actually want to be exercising. Like you're going to see a lot of results. You can metabolically not eat as many carbs, but still be able to gain muscle and burn fat. Yeah. So your body is like working really hard here. You're going to feel better. If you can get in the gym and do some really good strength training, like you're going to see results in this week.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you're going to feel good. You're going to feel strong. It's a good week. Yeah.
And I can back to the processed foods? Or,
No.
No? Okay.
Only drinking iced coffee in the morning. I can do that too.
Yeah, so here we want to be eating breakfast to really take advantage. We want to eat breakfast, get protein, nourish our bodies.
Take advantage of that energy and how well your body is going to work this week and gaining muscle. And muscle is so important for women.
Okay.
So important. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
why?
Telling everybody, you should be lifting weights like 3 days a week. You need to gain that muscle because for life, not just to look good, but when you're older, I mean, every year you atrophy a little bit, right? So if we're not doing something about it, then by the time you're 50, then where's your muscle? It's like, it's gone. Like you want to be a grandparent playing with your kids and running around and still being able to pick them up even when they're 30 pounds, you know? You got to keep that going. So it's for longevity. It's not just to look good here and now.
I kind of thought you were going to stop at, you want to pick them up when they're 30? I was like, damn.
My dad always said, he was like, if I pick you up every day of your life, I'll always be able to pick you up.
I love that.
I was like, oh, that's
And it makes sense because because you just keep moving that direction. What I always say is I kind of follow my kind of, I have a couple of 2-rule theories actually, but one of them with maintaining muscle mass or gaining muscle, I always say that there's only 2 ways, and I'd like your input too. The 2 ways are 1, eat enough protein, and 2 is strength training. Yeah. So I don't know if you have any additions that maybe you talk to your clients about when it comes to the muscle mass thing.
I mean, that's keep it easy. That's pretty much what it is.
That's pretty much it, right?
You need the protein to help you, and you need to strength
do some type of strength training.
Yeah.
Okay,
resistance training.
I really like the mindset approach of during 1 week, I need to do all the right things to make sure that I'm nourishing my body, feeling good, and getting through this week as best as I can, right? Because I'm trying to get through it.
Yeah.
But then next week, I have a little bit of a mindset difference of I'm still going to continue to do the right things, but it's because I just really want to take advantage of this time.
Yeah.
So both of them lead to doing the right things, but maybe that little mindset shift.
Like, why are you doing this? Like having a reason for what you're doing.
Yes.
Have a reason for why you're living this way. And being intuitive and being mindful of your body and treating it well. Like a lot of these things are like just being mindful of what's going on. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? There's a reason why, you know, and putting the connections together. Yeah.
The last part you said, the putting the connections together. That's what a big part of our society is missing, I think. They're not making the connection between why from the cause and effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's almost normal to feel bad.
Yeah.
So we need to get
It's
people
crazy.
realizing that that's not normal,
That's
and
not
you can
normal.
feel good
Yes.
for sure at all
Yeah.
times, right?
Yeah.
And for women, any time of the month, they can feel good, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If they do their,
Yeah.
now maybe there's some outliers, and you know, obviously those things happen. Do you
Yeah,
work?
for
Do you
sure.
work with any clients like that?
I mean, really, I always go into it with a positive, like open, like, no, we can change this. We can definitely get you feeling better. We can make this improvement. Like, I don't know. I just always try to stay positive. I'm like, no, we will do whatever to get you feeling better. And as long as they are feeling better and we're headed in the right direction, then I'm happy.
Yeah, and results are motivating.
Yeah.
So if you have the talent and the skill set of like connecting with someone and getting them to at least try it, then once they do it, like the eating meat thing, like I was talking about, it can be difficult for women sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you can get them to try it, then results are motivating.
Yeah.
If it's working, then it's a lot easier to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
And even if like try it for 3 weeks, see how you feel. 3 weeks isn't that long.
Very small amount.
Yeah.
Small piece of your life, for sure. All right, so we talked. So I actually wrote these down so don't forget what they are. We talked about the follicular phase.
Yes. So next would be ovulation.
Ovulation. All right, let's
Yeah.
talk about that. What's going on?
Okay, so peak hormones, right?
Okay.
You're going to be feeling really good in your body, probably glowing a little bit more. You're going to be more social. Also, your libido is higher, which makes sense because this is the time of month where you're most likely to get pregnant.
Okay.
So you're going to be like really like more into your husband during that time, you know? It makes sense. But you, as far as like the workout goes, you can still do high intensity because you're still feeling really good. So, still strength training, right? You can do spin classes. Even HIIT would be okay. HIIT, I kind of go back and forth.
Okay.
Because it is just really hard. That's not something that I would be like, oh, you can do HIIT workouts all month long. No.
So boot camps are not your thing.
I mean, I used to like them, but then, and this was a personal experience, I just started getting headaches after every workout. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, I'm drinking all my electrolytes. I'm eating before I go. I'm even adding more carbs so that I have more energy before I go. But gosh, every time I'd get a headache. And so I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So I stopped doing those workouts. And then every other workout that I do, other kinds of like lifting weights or other, I don't know, just not that high intensity, I wasn't getting headaches. It was only with the higher intensity. So I was like, okay, that my body doesn't like this.
Yeah.
I just had to figure it out, you know, and I tried like the different things. Like, was I just sweating a lot and like not having enough electrolytes and being dehydrated, or was I not eating enough? I tried, you know, and it just, nothing was really working.
More
So
thumbs
it was
up for
like,
strength training is all I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Yes, that is
Yes.
is so important.
And I do like to do like yoga and bar and Pilates, and I like all of those too.
Do you change your own workout routine based upon time of the month, or you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What is bar? Is that ballet?
It's kind of like
like a
ballet. Yeah,
ballet
it's more dance movement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's BARRE. So it's
Yeah, I'm
French
familiar
for,
with what
like,
it is. I've never been, but
I think it's time for us to sign up, bro.
fun.
all right.
Time for us to
You
get
can
no
try it.
bar
I've
class.
heard it's
But
way
you
harder than it
do-
looks.
Yeah, and a lot of like balancing too. So like dance movements and balancing, and you can even still use some weights too, and
Okay.
still add in a little bit of resistance with that too.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So, and during this time is when we're doing these harder, not
Yeah, you-
necessarily, maybe a little bit of HIIT, but
Yeah, you
Not
can
too
still
much.
have good, more of high intensity workouts here too. It's the next phase where we start to kind of slow down.
okay.
So
Well, let's talk
that's-
about the nutrition during the,
Oh, yeah.
right now we're talking about the ovulation phase, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, mostly here, you know, you hopefully are ovulating. Ovulating is just very good for our health in general. We don't want to stop the ovulation because it's just good for your long-term health and just everything. So that's a whole like other episode.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do
Right?
that. Yeah.
But yeah, again, we're continuing to really nourish, making sure we're getting in our protein. And after, I always like to make sure I get in lots of protein like pretty quickly after a workout too. So that's something that always try to be mindful of, like in the next 30 minutes, like, oh, I finished my workout in the next 30 minutes, I need to get some protein in.
Okay.
To like really get, you're breaking down your muscles, but the protein helps to build them back up. So getting it in, and I think from something I was just listening to earlier this week was that for women, eating the protein pretty quickly after is better as far as like helping build the muscles. You don't want to wait too long. So it's like if you're doing that higher intensity exercises, then definitely making sure you get your protein in so that you are building, because you need those aminos. Even like taking aminos like during your workout is a good idea too. So that just helps with building and
with the building of the muscle.
And
And then once we get through that, we go into the luteal phase.
Yes.
Right? So what's going on there? What is that?
So estrogen's lowering, progesterone raises. So that is what gives you that kind of like feel good, more relaxation hormone. So you're going to want to start kind of slowing things down. So doing really intense workouts aren't going to be as beneficial.
Okay.
So again, like the lighter weights, so we're kind of low medium type intensity. So lighter weights, Pilates, yoga bar, those. Because what happens next is you're back to week 1 where you're resting.
Okay.
Right? So you're resting, and then you're getting higher intensity, and then we come back down. Right? So
but the nutrition piece
that
still staying consistent.
Still pretty staying consistent, yeah. I mean, it seems to be mainly just in the first phase where you really want to make sure you're not giving your body all of those high inflammatory foods, because that's what brings on the extra pain and headaches and like things that you don't want that are so bad about having to have your period, Right. We don't want to make things worse, so we already have to deal with that. So let's stay away from those high inflammatory foods, and like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's like normalized to feel bad during this time?
Definitely.
What's up with that?
I don't know. It's just like that's what we've all
it'd be a lot
been
easier
taught.
for me if that wasn't the case. Right?
For everyone.
No comment.
For everyone.
Yeah.
It stinks. Like I wish we could start teaching the younger girls like it doesn't have to be that way. Like, let's not even teach them about that. Let's just teach them this is a beautiful part of your life because you have this for a reason, so that you can bring life. You can have babies and have that just amazing experience, right? If that's what they want. It's not a terrible thing. Like, it's there for a reason, and it doesn't have to be terrible. If we're treating our bodies right, it does not have to be terrible, and it won't be. I mean, honestly, like when I was in high school, I had terrible cramps, but we had off-campus lunch, right? So I got to go eat lunch wherever I wanted. And what was I eating? Like Chicken Express and hamburgers and pizza and Mexican food. And not the good kind of Mexican food like fajitas where you're just eating chicken and vegetables. It was, real greasy and oily, and who knows what they used to cook. So now that I look back, I'm like, well, no wonder my cramps were so bad, because I wasn't nourishing myself with real whole foods. I was all high inflammatory. But now that I know that and I treat my body right, I don't ever have an issue. Like, period comes, okay.
It's just
we're
like
all
another day and you feel good.
Yeah, I don't feel bad. I don't have headaches. I don't have the cramping anymore. So, yeah, living proof.
Yeah, we need to normalize that and make that kind of be the normal. I've heard you. Or go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say, it just kind of seems like it was like stigmatized growing up when I was a kid. It's like, of course, I wasn't walking around asking women about this, but it's like if I did hear about it, it was kind of like whoa, like
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like
from a guy's perspective, it does really seem that way.
Yeah, it wasn't like it didn't seem like there was a lot of teaching like these better practices at one point. So I mean, you're absolutely right. Definitely needs to be taught.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think about often, or?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't have any daughters, so
Oh, okay.
but like Felice said, we're best friends,
Mhm.
and she has a daughter, and so I do start thinking about. I've been more thinking about it lately. Like my friends with daughters that are, we're getting to different ages now, and so it's like, okay, well, maybe I should help in
Mhm.
that area. Like, start with my friends who have girls. Like, let's not teach them that this is a terrible thing. Let's teach them this is beautiful and it doesn't have to be bad, and let's do the right things for ourselves.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Like as soon as you hear, like I'm just thinking more and more now. Like as soon as it's just like immediate negativity.
Yeah.
Like it is like all that
Yes.
comes. Oh, you must feel so bad right now. Like, or what do I need to do to make you feel better during?
Yeah.
But
Well, let's know. I mean, our body does need to rest during
Sure.
the week.
Right,
and
right.
so let's take it easy. Let's rest. Let's nourish, and
yeah, I've heard you say a couple times warm cooked food.
yeah.
Are you like, is there something going on with like raw
Well,
foods? Like you're not
so
about it, or like
that
what's going on there?
goes along with just your digestion. Raw foods are just really hard to digest.
Okay.
You have to really be chewing them to a paste, to like help your stomach to digest it. And just with the amount of people that I talk to who have digestive issues, like, whoa, it's a lot of people. Like most people you talk to are going to have some kind of digestive distress. And it could just be like a certain type of food, which that happens because we all have little food sensitivities. But yeah, raw foods are just hard to digest. And so
Does that include fruits?
no, more of the vegetables.
Vegetables?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, some more vegetables.
So cooked vegetables is really.
And you recommend like steaming vegetables, or does it matter? Do you have a preference baking?
I mean, I usually bake
Okay.
mine just with some olive oil and a little bit of seasonings. It's really easy to do because all you have to do is pop it in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
And just makes it easier to digest. And because there are some vegetables also that, like cruciferous vegetables, can cause a lot more bloating or gassiness. And then eating them raw also just like they're just staying in there and it's not breaking down properly. And then, just different things come with that.
Okay. Yeah. I just kind of wanted to inquire on that because I've heard you say it a few times. And, and I will say that I can definitely remember times, and I've correlated vegetables with my digestive distress, but maybe I'm just not cooking them enough.
Yeah. Or it could just be a certain type of vegetable, like the cruciferous ones. They can be, some people just can't tolerate them as well. Like broccoli and garlic and onions and cauliflower. Those sometimes are just more harsh on people.
Yeah. And a lot of times are you recommending to either cook them or take those completely out of the diet in certain cases?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
For
I might consider that myself. I don't eat a ton of vegetables, but when I do eat a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask specifically about that too, because the fruit's usually cold, right? And
yeah. No, that's all right.
Yeah. Can we get into some specific things that I think a lot of women struggle with? And, I'm not pointing fingers or anything like that. I'm just going by my experience, So like, especially during certain times of the month, during phases, there's these cravings going on, right? The snacking going on. Like, is that something that women can overcome, or are those things that you have specific tips for? How do you recommend dealing with that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it can be hard, like when you do have those cravings, but part of it is, what do you make accessible to yourself? So if you have chocolate in the house, or you have your vices, right? If you're buying them and you're having them there, then you're making it harder on yourself. So like, just be smart when you're buying the things. And so if you don't have it around, you're more likely to reach for something that's a better option, right? And so, of course, I always say, if you want a snack, let's reach for some protein, because it will help you feel fuller longer. So, like boiled eggs, cheeses, like hard cheeses, or like beef sticks. I wish I could remember the name of the brand that I just got. They're so good.
Chomp is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Chomp is really good.
This one is a different one that I came upon at Kroger.
Okay.
And it's a grass-fed beef sticks. I'm going
So
blank on what it's called, but they're
if you
really
have
good.
those around instead of
Yeah,
crackers
then
or whatever.
you'll remind yourself like, oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to go for that. I'll go for something else.
Because you still want to satisfy that in some
Yeah.
way or another.
Yeah, or if you're like having a sweet tooth moment,
Mhm.
eat some fruit instead, because fruit's better than a candy bar. Or
Yeah,
a
that's definitely a
candy,
go-to for myself. I eat a lot of fruit. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of mentioned that earlier. A lot of fruit is
And
really
it
good for
doesn't
me.
even take a lot. Like a couple of bites, and you're like, okay, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, then
You
you're kind of
know?
over it, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes you just need time.
Yeah.
You need something, and then you need just like a little bit of time, and
Yeah.
you're good. I mean, this is me speaking, right? But
Yeah.
in my experience, maybe it's different for some women.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll even reach for my electrolytes if I want something sweet. Like, oh, well, I'll just drink some electrolytes.
okay. Well, do you have any other supplements? And when you say electrolytes, maybe tell us what you mean by it. Is it like a powder that you put in water?
Yeah,
Or?
it's the Redmond Relight brand is the one that we like a lot. They
Uh-huh.
have a bunch of different flavors, and we get what do we get? The watermelon lime and the lemon lime, like every month delivered. And my husband
Okay.
and I both love it.
Nice.
You just drink them every day, no matter what, or what?
I usually have at least like one serving a day.
Mhm.
Yeah. And my husband really likes it before bed. I don't know. It just
Oh,
makes him feel
sure.
better in the mornings, more
Okay.
hydrated.
Nice.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. I might consider that.
Yeah,
Do you have
and-
any other supplements you recommend?
I mean, it kind of depends on the person.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad you said that. And I know earlier you said that food first, supplements later.
Yeah.
And we are very much on the same page there. And I actually, you know, people ask me about supplements, and I don't really do supplement recommendations anymore. So I'm really glad that you kind of said that. I went through an interesting supplement situation myself where I ended up going to, I changed doctors. And when I did that, going through that process, I was being recommended to take a supplement that is pretty standardly recommended. Come to find out, I was getting like hyper levels of that via my blood work. So now I'm
Okay.
very cautious on telling
Yeah.
people about even very simple supplements. You should get blood work done to figure
To
out
see, yeah.
what you need.
Well, and then a lot of
individually.
times, even if you have that supplement, it can be just like, for 3 months and then you're done.
Mm.
You know,
You're saying that's what someone could need. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily need it forever.
forever. Yeah, there
Okay.
are some things that can be good forever, like omegas.
Mhm.
Because if we're not eating a lot of seafood, like myself, I just don't really like that much. That is one that I could say I could take that every day. You'd be fine. You know, I would be
Right.
for myself. And then, gosh, I'm like,
Well, I think
what
what's
else can you
important
say?
what's important with that one though is that you're understanding that it is a supplement to your diet
Yes.
because
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't eat enough
Yes.
fish.
Yeah.
So you know, like that is
Yeah.
the definition of a supplement.
Yes.
Something that is
Right.
filling a gap
Yes, for sure.
that you need. And if you're just guessing what that gap is based upon something you read online,
Yeah.
you're
You
not.
don't know.
Who knows if you actually even have a gap?
Yeah.
Or maybe your gap is huge, and you're like placebo effect taking the supplement, and it's
Mhm.
not nearly enough, or
Right.
you know, you just never know.
Yeah,
unless
for
you
sure.
actually
But yeah,
have that.
exactly.
Do you have any specific something you mentioned earlier was during which phase was it? The menstrual phase when you want to relax,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Do you have specific things that you recommend for stress management, self-care, you know, for women during those times that maybe would also help them stay on track with their diet because they're doing these types of
Yeah.
routines or anything?
I mean, there's things that I, like to do and usually recommend for like stress, is like Epsom salt baths if you
Mhm.
have time after the kids are asleep, so they're not running and they're bothering you.
Mhm, mhm.
You can even do like castor oil packs while you're sleeping. Just helps your liver, helps any pain you might have. That's easy to do because you just put it on before you go to bed and go to sleep.
Okay.
Just giving yourself a little bit of quiet time. If you have access to a sauna, I love sauna. That's
Okay.
another time for you to just like go sit for 20 minutes, kind of relax during that time. Get outside,
There you go. I like it.
definitely. Walking after meals, like taking a little walk after meals. That's again giving you a little bit of a break from a life, and also helping your digestive system and your blood sugar regulation all at the same time. If
Awesome.
you can do it in the evening before bed, that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
Get out there and walk a little, watch the sun go down. Yeah. It's just little things, like just give yourself some grace, give yourself a moment.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, especially women, especially with the kids,
Yeah.
the kid situation makes you feel like it's impossible to do the things that need to be done to make you feel better and things like that. So that little mindset shift of even tiny little things that you can do
Yes.
throughout the day can make a big difference.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
Just 5 minutes here and there, little things. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
because the world around us is so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It convinces us that things are not possible.
Yeah. There's not enough time in the day.
Yeah. There's not very much, but it is enough, to make a difference for sure. Do you think there's anything we missed that someone needs to hear specifically about this topic?
I don't know. We covered a lot.
Yeah. Good stuff. Sean, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Keto, how do you feel about that? I know you were talking about, animal products and how you eat that. And I know some people are either for things like that or completely against them. And so I just wanted to kind of know your take on keto.
I think it can be beneficial for like 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then that's about it.
Okay.
Not a forever thing. No.
Right.
Yeah,
no,
fair,
you don't want to do that for forever. No, but it can be, which all of the like name diets, can be good for a certain period of time. But I always just to be like, I've always kind of said in moderation. I don't know, but as far as keto goes, I take it in little portions. There is evidence though that it can be really good for those who have cancer, I believe. I just came upon that here pretty recently, and I thought, oh, well, that's something to look into. That's very interesting. But yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all I had as far as questions go. But thank you.
Yeah, I like the simple approach of, whole foods, cooked meals, multiple times a day, get to your protein goals.
Yeah.
30 grams of protein each meal. So even if you eat 3 meals a day, 30 grams of protein each one, that's 90. I personally think that even if that's not like the optimal number, that's a lot more than what a lot of women are getting.
Yeah.
I talk to women pretty regularly. If I have them just do a quick little food diary, right? Like maybe 40 to 50 grams of protein in a whole day. And I'm assuming that there's no one that's enough for, right?
Yeah. That's like not hardly anything.
Yeah.
I guess that was my second question. I wasn't really sure how to go about it, but why do you think that women feel that they but can't get that much protein in, like getting that 90 and it's just so tough? Like, why do you think that they run into that issue?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Gotcha.
societal
It's
thing that we talked about earlier.
Like we have to eat dainty. We can't eat a whole lot.
Dainty,
Like,
right?
yeah,
Like eating
that's
salad.
What,
Add some meat onto it, I guess. But also though, if you there's visuals on how much 30 grams of different types of protein, like what it looks like. And it's really not a lot. Like you can go on Instagram and find some visuals. And I think a lot of times just for someone seeing that, they're like, oh, okay, well, I could do that.
Yeah. It's intimidating to think about.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I was just talking to someone earlier about this, that we often need to separate how we feel about something from the reality of it. That's very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's so important that whatever is in front of us, however you feel about it, I understand how you feel about it. But let's take a second to ask, is this just how I feel? Or is this actually what's happening? Do you just feel like you can't? Or can you actually not do it?
Yeah.
And when you see it, it makes you realize, oh, maybe I actually can do that. I thought it was going to be a lot different.
Yeah.
But it's really not. It's just our feelings kind of getting the best of us.
Yeah.
And that emotional situation is rarely good. Kind of like we were talking about earlier, the fight or flight.
Yeah.
type of situation kind of
So,
kicks
some
in.
of my favorite content is I see a lot of women in the fitness industry. What they'll do if they're like bodybuilders, power lifters, however, they'll go through like a what I eat in a day, and they'll show their kind of physique. Okay, this is what I look, and this is what I eat in a day to get X amount of protein. Sometimes it's like 90 to 150 grams, depending on what their goals are. And it's always, because this is something I also think people hear protein, they all instantly think health, and they associate it with bland, boring, dry,
That is so true
not
also.
great foods. And then you
Yes.
see what they're showing, and I'm like, oh my God, I want all of that right
Yeah.
now in front of me. So
Yeah.
it's like, do you think that that's something that women sometimes struggle with?
Maybe, and maybe they just don't know how to cook it right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and it just take a little bit of experimenting. Like I know my husband at first, when he started cooking chicken, he would always get so mad, like, oh, you know, I cooked it too long.
It's so dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, my gosh, he's got it down to a T. It's amazing every time. It's always juicy. He sets a timer. He knows exactly
Wow.
how long to cook it. He seasons it the same way, like olive oil.
Is he
and
busy
a little bit of-
tonight? You want to?
Yeah, right. I'm gonna show up with some Tupperware.
I'll take
Yeah,
leftovers. Yeah.
But it takes some like experimenting to get
That's
like
right.
how do you like your steak cooked? You know, like we like ours rare,
Okay.
which makes it a little more juicy, not as dry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, cooking it with some butter or olive oil, like real butter.
Mm-hmm.
That also adds, you know, and maybe people just need to like be more
That
like
is
willing to.
Yeah,
Let's try
people
it a
are
different
really
way.
closed-minded about cooking sometimes. And usually at that point, if they really don't want to, I'll send it like, I'll ask, well, what do you think about like a meal prep company? And then we'll kind of go
Yeah.
that route if it's necessary. But I do agree. Same thing happened to me with steak. I've never been like, I don't mind cooking, but it's always been, it's super simple for me. It's like I cook because I need to, not because I love to cook,
Yeah.
right? And I don't mind because I know that it's good. Like I know the outcome
Yeah.
is going to be good, right? But just this year, actually, I'd say maybe in the past 6 months or so, I've really gotten into grilling with my propane grilling steaks, and I have it like down to an art exact. Like I know like how much salt to add, how long to let it sit in the fridge to let the water extract.
Damn, are you busy later? Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Dude, I'm making some steaks, dude. I'm telling you, I got it down. I know the temperature. I know how long the grill needs to warm up for.
Yeah.
Till it gets to the temperature it needs to be at. I got my little food thermometer. I know exactly how long to put the first side before it flips.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it took me probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6, iterations to kind of really, and they weren't
Oh, this
terrible
is how
during
I
that
like it.
time, but
Yeah.
now I know.
Yeah.
And so, you have to be open-minded enough to go through that process.
Yeah. Well, and to make it easier, like get yourself an iron skillet and do it inside.
Yeah, you can do it
And-
inside
And
too.
cooking steak is so quick. It
Yeah.
really doesn't take long at all.
And honestly, I like the grill because there's not no cleanup. I clean it like once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
like the drippings or
scrape
whatever.
the-
Yeah, exactly. So it's very easy to clean, and I've really gotten so into it actually that I'm considering like upgrading. I've done some research
Your grill?
recently. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
because it gets crazy. There's like a whole world of
Oh, yes.
of grills out there.
We have like 4 different.
what? I'm coming over.
Well,
Yeah, you gotta come rent one.
I gotta see this.
My husband just bought a Rectech, like the pellet smoker kind.
Okay, I've
Yes.
considered one of those
Yeah,
also.
last
yeah.
weekend. So that's what he did the brisket on, and it
Okay.
was really good. So-
Yeah, see, I'm not as big a fan just because of the time. I like quick.
Oh, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, well, we've only done the one thing on it. He wants to do like wings and try some other things, and I don't think those take very long. Brisket, obviously, you want to cook it for a long time because that's how it gets so
the
like,
low and slow
moist.
method. Yeah.
So it's different. But yeah, we have a flat top one that he won at a golf tournament,
Nice.
and then a propane one, and then we have like a whole fire pit thing also.
Dang.
See, I like efficiency.
Yeah.
So the propane grill works for me. I turn it
Yeah,
on, let it get
so-
hot, clean it real quick, and then
Yeah,
just,
and easy to do on
Yes.
weeknights. We like.
Yeah, something. Speaking of different grills, my old job that I worked at a pawn shop, so we dealt with a myriad of customers, and we had this one customer come in around the time that pellet grills were starting to pick up, and he's showing us some stuff that he made, and we're like, "Oh, what'd you make that on the pellet grill?" He's like, "Dude, I don't want that damn easy bake oven." And we're like, "Whoa!"
That's funny that you said that.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's kind of
yeah,
like frowned upon.
Yeah.
in the grill world.
I have always called it an easy bake oven. How did you know?
Dude, oh my God. man. Like every time I think of Pelly Girl, I always think about this one
Yes.
guy being like appalled.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Well,
someone's like,
that
I could
it
tell. this
is
something.
because on the other one, the actual like pit where you had to make the fire yourself and all that, like he would have to wake up every 2 hours to make sure the fire was still going and the temperature was right. This time he slept all night long and never got up, and it even connects to your phone.
Yeah, because you have so much. There's no manual messing around anymore with those. You can just change the temperature so easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to mess with the fire and check it every couple hours.
Do y'all remember that infomercial? It was like, just set it and forget it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. How does your husband feel about being an easy bake person?
I mean, he was like, man, we could do briskets every weekend.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't think I would really care. I don't know if I'd be able to taste the difference.
But he was like the last one of his friends, and like his brother has one.
He was trying to hold out.
Yeah,
he was holding out.
He's holding on to his bag of charcoal just with dear life.
Yeah, but I mean, convenience is important though. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Convenience is so important to being consistent with your nutrition.
Yeah.
So how convenient can we make? And that's also why ultimate convenience has become the go-to. Ultimate convenience being processed fast foods and things like that. So there has to be a middle ground. We can make it convenient while also being good for us.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that should be the goal. And if someone wanted to do that and they wanted to work with you, getting their protein up, they're kind of struggling through these phases and stuff. Like, what do your services look like? How does it work? How do they inquire?
Yeah. So I do have a website. It's kswellnessandnutrition.com. And there is a free consultation button on there. I like to just kind of consult with everybody before we actually make an appointment. But then I also, so I work once a week in a clinic called Phoenix Rising Integrative Medicine. It's downtown Houston, like Med-Center area. But then in League City, also partnering up with Felisa at Foundations Medical Care and Aesthetics, so we can meet in person there. I'm also open for meeting online. I have a program I use for that, for like video calls and everything. And whatever, like obviously also meeting online makes it very convenient.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm good with both of those. And like I said, we go through like your whole lifestyle and just kind of figure out like what can we make better? What is it that you want? Like I kind of work with basically any type of person.
And you see them once a week, once a month, depends on the person.
Yeah, well, I like to kind of have that constant communication. Like I always say, I don't mind if you send me an email, like you've got a question real quick. I always check my emails and my phone, all the time. So I'm pretty responsive. And I kind of feel like that you kind of comes with like you're paying for a service. So I'm going to give you like good quality service.
Sure.
Right?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
So yeah, but then usually it's like I'll work with people for 3 to 4 months and we meet, face to face in person or online once a month, but then there's always communication going on. Like,
so your
the whole
standard
time. So,
client is with you within 3 to 4 months to fix their problem. It's not like they're tied to you, then they have to use your services forever. You're trying to fix a problem and then
we're trying to
move on.
Yeah, like get them to where they want to be, and I just help them like basically to get started and make the lifestyle changes and help keep them on track. And after 3 to 4 months of doing that, then your habits, your routines have changed. So hopefully you're able to move on, yourself and continue. And then obviously though, if something else comes up or it's like, hey, I want to try this, and contact me again.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love we say the same thing. We always say that we hope that you don't need a personal trainer forever.
Yeah.
We want to instill into you the confidence and education that you need to do it on your own. But maybe you just love it so much that you keep coming back anyways.
Why not?
So yeah, awesome. So it's kswellnessandnutrition.com, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Any last words before we wrap it up?
Y'all are great.
Oh,
Thanks.
thanks.
This was fun.
Yeah. Glad you liked it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, contact Kelley if you need help with your nutrition, looking for help with exercise. We got you on that part. If you do both, you're going to do great. So, all right, guys. See y'all later.
Peace.